Well, so this week I thought we would talk a little bit about the relationship between Sthira, Sukha, and Ahimsa. Don't worry if you don't remember what those things are, we'll always remind you. So Ahimsa is nonviolence is usually how that's translated. It is one of the most important guiding principles of yogic practice. It is certainly a main theme throughout Gandhi's work. So that kind of gives you an idea of what ahimsa could mean. And then Sthira and Sukha are two words that usually are paired together. Sthira can mean things like strength, structure, effort, form, condensed, like hard, solid kind of things. And then Sukha is sort of its opposite, or its balance. It is spaciousness, it's flow, it's flexibility, it's ease, it's relaxation. And the only verse in the whole Yoga Sutras that talks about asana, posture at all, is this verse about Sthira Sukham Asanam, which means that postures should be both steady and comfortable, or should be a balance of structure and flexibility, or solidness and space. And that's the only instruction we get. There's nothing about what angle your tailbone should be in down dog. None of that is in the sutras. It is really just this balance. And really, if we follow that as our guiding principle in our postures, we'll probably get it pretty close to right. But the beautiful thing about these postures is really they're just metaphors for other things, as you guys know. Those of you who've been with me a long time, they're just metaphors for the way we live our lives and the way we use our practice off the mat, which I think is ultimately much, much more important. And so how do these concepts, how does this nonviolence go together with sort of this effort and ease balance, or structure and space balance? I would define ahimsa less as nonviolence, which sort of negatively defines it. It's not this. It is harmlessness. Many cultures and philosophies around the world talk about, do unto others as you would like to have done unto you. So, if we don't want to be harmed or have violence against us, whether it's word, deed, or whatever, any kind of violence, then obviously we should not do that to other people. But it also can be turned on ourselves. We have a tendency to just, even in our mind, where it's not even affecting anybody else necessarily, be like, oh, why did you do that? You're so stupid, right? We have this self-talk sometimes that we have to recognize for what it is. It's violence against the self. Over-exercising to the point where we're just stressed about it, or injuring ourselves, is violence against the self. Also, not taking care of your body, not doing any kind of motion, just laying around all the time where your body is not staying strong, it's not maintaining its form and flexibility, is also a sort of form of self-harm. So there's all kinds of ways where harm and harmlessness could be seen. And I think if we take, as sort of like Sthira and Sukha are sort of the way to which we find our path to harmlessness to ourselves and others. You guys ever been in a friendship or a relationship, maybe with your kid or a significant other or something, like a parent, whatever, where you've tried way too hard, you put in way too much effort, and that ends up injuring the relationship? Or worse, you put in no effort and that ends up injuring the relationship. These are all kinds of harm. And so finding the balance of just the right amount of effort and just the right amount of ease is a way to prevent violence or to prevent harm, self or others. And really, when you look at the most fundamental truth of yoga, which is all is one, any harm visited on the self or others is the same self, really. So we can kind of sit with some of that. Nishala Joy Devi, who has written my very favorite translation of the sutras, approaches these few sutras in the sutras about, I don't know, just really beautifully and poetically. This is 246, 247, and 248. Her translation is, the natural comfort and joy of our being is expressed when the body becomes steady. As the body yields all efforts and holdings, the infinite light within is revealed. Thereafter, we are freed from the fluctuations of the gunas. And the gunas we've talked about in the last few weeks is sort of like the flowing forms of this world. So we basically transcend those things. She also has on the verse about ahimsa, which is 230, she says, ahimsa is love, reverence, compassion, and gentleness towards self and others. So rather than it's not harming, or it's not hurting, or it's not, cruelty, what it is love. What it is reverence. What it is compassion and gentleness. So we're going to try to bring some of those concepts into our movements and our posture today. We'll start in Sukhasana as we often do, just finding that comfortable seat. Let's see if we can, as we take this seated shape, extend all the metaphors that we like to do in our classes by just kind of rooting yourself from the bottom into peacefulness. Just allowing your body to kind of set itself or anchor itself in calm. And we can also think of ourselves as rooting down into the earth, which is the support system for all living things of which we are currently aware. And so if we just settle into that wholeness, this brings that peace that we're after. If we settle into our connection to all living things on this planet, we settle into that harmlessness. And so here we have structure, we have sthira, we have form, we're locking ourselves in, we're steadying ourselves. Let's take the upper half of the body and find spaciousness. This is our Sukha, literally meaning good space, opening the heart, finding ease in the shoulders, relaxation and softness in the face. And here's how we experience these seemingly opposites, the structure and the space, the effort and the ease, both at the same time. This is such a theme in a lot of my yoga classes. I'm always joking about how every lesson is the same lesson, and this is no exception. We are both the individual self and wholeness. We are both structure and softness. It's not a contradiction, it's the picture of wholeness. And that's what we aim for in our practice. Now see if you can tap into the wholeness of your breath, meaning not necessarily keeping track of whether the breath is flowing in or flowing out, just that the breath is flowing. This is the way that we receive compassion and also give compassion. This is the circular motion of respect and love and gentleness that we receive in and that we give back out. And also noticing the magical power of our hearts to receive in whatever comes, and if need, we transform that energy so that when it flows back out, it is more gentle, it's more kind, it's more reverent. It looks more like love. Just recognizing this miracle of our steadiness and our openness, of our receiving and giving as one whole, complete cycle. We're often sort of pointed in a certain direction in life. We're kind of aiming towards something. Let's see what would happen if we sort of turn. So from this seated position, start to draw your right arm kind of out to the right and then up and over to the left. And then let your heart and your gaze turn to the left. Bring your right hand down towards your left knee. Your left hand might come behind you to support. And see if you can settle that Sukha down, like relax the hips to find anchoring. So here we are relaxing to find stability. Same thing as we effortfully lift and align our spines, we find that space we're after. So again, effort or structure, balancing out with openness and spaciousness. Let's reverse that motion. So as you inhale, start to draw your right arm kind of over to the left and then up and over to the right before coming back either to your lap or the floor. Big breath in to receive, big breath out to let that flow through us. Left arm stretching out, wide to the left, and then up and over to the right, twisting now, heart and gaze, shifting to that right side. Wait for your body to settle back into that anchoring. Root yourself in wholeness, connecting to the whole earth, providing structure and stability, opening our hearts, making that space, breathing, receiving and giving in balance. Then reversing that direction, arm kind of sweeping up first to the right, then up and over, back to the left, coming back to our original position. Big breath in and out. Let's draw the hands slightly behind the body. And in our little seated position here, we're just going to bring the hands back and just gently lift the heart. You might lift your hips off the floor. You don't have to. We're really more interested in lifting the heart above the shoulders and just kind of drawing the shoulders back. Spaciousness in the front body, even as we create a more stacked structure of our spinal column at the back body. Sthira and Sukha. How does that form at the back body help to lift and open your heart? Come back to neutral. Take a big breath in and out. Next exhale, chin to chest. Breathe into the back body, open up, kind of cat back, and then start to walk your hands forward, either forward towards your shins or maybe forward toward the floor. Supporting yourself here. Collapsing inward on the individual self. And feeling the back body open now. So we have that structure in the front body. This is us recognizing our individual identity. If we have the eyes to see, we're kind of looking through the heart and into that openness at the back body. So individuality and wholeness at the same time. If we direct our compassion inward towards our own heart, it's likely to leave a trail of compassion behind us for others to walk that path. Starting to leave the hands here on the floor. We're going to move into a tabletop shape from here. So maybe walk the hands a little forward, kind of uncrossing the legs, coming into our hands and knees shape. So we're opening up all sides. We're going to take those same twisting and cat-cow motions. So first, just kind of leaving left hand right where it is, drawing the right leg back. Stretch out the back of that right leg, then drop your heel on the right side towards the center of the mat. Roll your heart open to the right. Maybe that right arm reaches up or towards your hip. If you like, you can lift that right foot off the floor. No need to. If it's more steady for you to leave it down. Balance your openness of heart and maybe the stretch of your arms with the steadiness of the parts of you that are still anchored to the floor. Connect to the whole earth and then open up. Good. Exhale, come back to all fours and tabletop. Take a breath in and out. And left leg stretches back. We're going to take that same motion. First, kind of opening up that left calf, and then opening wide here, heart shifting to the left side. Same options. Balance your own steadiness here with openness. Sthira and Sukha. Feel how this supports that open heart, compassionate, harmlessness, loving, kind, gentleness, tenderness towards self and others. Coming back into our table, breath in and out. Next, inhale, drop your belly down, lift your chin and your hips. Take a few rounds of breath here. Feel the back body compressing strong, solid structure there into that big open space at the front body. That balance of Sthira and Sukha, open heart compassion. Next time you exhale, drop chin to chest, lift the back of the heart. Chin and hips kind of tuck under the body, push away from the floor. Looking into the self again, that compressed front body is structure, the open back body is space. And offer yourself compassion into your heart and through your heart out to the back, that openness and connection. Come back to your neutral, breath in and out. We're going to come to standing on the knees for a moment. This is where we might take those props into account, maybe blocks or a bolster. As we're standing on the knees, we can use those blocks kind of back by the ankles. You may or may not use them. But just neutral at first, kind of knees lined up with hips, lined up with shoulders, lined up with ears, kind of that neutral space. And this is also that balance of structure and softness. Maybe your belly is soft, but your spine is strong. Maybe the gaze or the face is sort of soft, but the arms are heavy and structured here. As you inhale, sweep your arms in front of you, reaching up and then back. Maybe we stay here. Maybe hands come to support at the low back. Maybe they come down to the blocks. Maybe we set the bottom back down either on the floor or the mat and then just lift the heart. So any of these back bending shapes. Again, structure of the back body stays with the front body. Send your compassion out to the world. Feel the challenge of that. It's not always easy. One more breath. Come back to neutral. From here, we're going to place the hands in front of us on the mat. Tuck the chin in towards the chest. And then just gently draw the head down towards, so the crown of the head is pointing towards the floor. It might make contact with the floor, but we're not resting weight there. So arms could be straight or elbows bent and forearms on the floor. Open the back body, again, looking inward. Notice what challenges this posture offers. Still structure at the front body, space at the back body. How does compassion, ahimsa, gentleness show up here as we look inward? Wonderful. Rising back up into our tabletop space. If you were using props, maybe set those toward the front of the mat. They might be useful for our next pose. And then on hands and knees, neutralizing the spine, lengthening through some effort here, but keeping a softness in the belly, tucking toes underneath and starting to stretch up and out into downward facing dog. So let's check in with where there's space and where there's structure. Long spine, softness in the neck, softness in the backs of the knees, even as the arms and legs provide structure to lift the tailbone. Notice if you're kind of more looking inward or more looking outward. Is this space here at the front of the heart or the back of the heart? Is there softness in the belly or engagement? Just notice. Making any adjustments that your intuition guides you for. I have a longer hold here for our first down. I'll see if you can take 2 to 3 more breaths. When you're ready to come out, on an exhale, let your knees come down into the mat. Then inhale into the back of the heart to find that big cat arch. Exhale, find child's pose. Hips coming back towards the heels. Softness in the shoulders. Forearms, head, shins resting on the mat. Fully let go. The floor here is our structure, our solidness. The back body is open, soft, and spacious. Shoulders are soft. Make any adjustments to allow yourself to relax a little more in the shape. Just relaxing as much as you can. Turning inward, providing compassion to the self, enables us to give compassion to others. As we offer compassion to others, it reminds us to give that same compassion to ourselves. On your next few breaths, kind of fill up the back of your body as you breathe in. Kind of squeeze the front of your body as you breathe out. Begin to rise back to that neutral table, tucking toes, and rising back into downward facing dog. Check in again, structure and softness, space and form. If it feels good to you, reach your right leg up high. Expand into that possibility behind you. And everyone's right foot can step forward between the hands now, dropping the left knee behind you. Blocks might be useful here, either to raise the floor a little higher to find more lift through the heart. Soften and anchor through ease into the hips. And then use your arms and your chest to provide some structure and effort to lift and open. Effort and ease and balance, once again. We're shining our hearts forward. I always think of the Care Bear stare. Just sending that love outward. Hands can either travel along the floor or carry your blocks with you as we start to shift the hips back towards the left heel. We're going to start to straighten the right leg, either a little or a lot, depending on your body and its comfort level. And then once you find a place where you can kind of stay for a moment, drop the chin to the chest, press into the floor or the blocks to lift the back of your cart, just sort of curl over that right leg. You may be high or low. If it's comfortable for your body, you can even set your hips down on the floor behind you. That's not necessary, but just feel free to explore the range that is available to your body today. Where's their structure? Where's their fluidity? Where's their softness? Where's their firmness? Where's that compression? Where's their space? Walking hands and or blocks forward again, coming back into our lunge. Anchor through that left hand. Inhale, reach your right arm forward in front of you, kind of as if you were directing that energy from your heart outward. Palms can be out, palm can face forward, palm can be upward. Whatever feels intuitively right to you here. Take one more breath, then inhale and sweep it up above your head and back towards the back of your body or the back of your mat. Your hand can come to support you. Maybe it's resting on your right thigh or at your sacrum. It could be reaching back. Lots of options here, but feel that structure as you press up and open to the right, and softness and space as you sink down. Maybe close the eyes. Just feel that compassion flowing through you like your breath. Receiving in, flowing out. Receiving in, flowing out. What is metaphorically to the right of you in your life that you can offer and share as compassion? You can stay for another breath or two. And exhale to untwist, maybe reaching up and over again, reaching forward, directing that outward for a breath or so before coming back to hands on the mat with blocks. If they're on blocks, maybe shifting your blocks forward to come back to the floor so we can come back into downward facing dog. Take your time to tuck the toes, move gracefully. Move gently in your body, respecting your body, respecting its limits and its abilities with equal respect. Find those places of softness and structure. Really press against the floor with your hands and feet. Find that ease in back and neck and belly. Feel the effort of this. Connect to the whole earth through your hands and feet. Next exhale, knees come down. Inhale into the back of the heart, cat arch. Exhale, child's pose. The challenge for many of us is to soften into the shape. To let go of any effort, to not be doing, but simply be with. Sometimes compassion is being present with someone who's suffering. It's not solving their problem. Not fixing, it's just being present, it's just witnessing, just regarding, offering compassion, offering reverence for their experience. Sometimes we have to offer these same things to ourselves. Be generous here. Anything you do for yourself, you're really doing for the world. And anything you do for the world, you're really doing for yourself. Take that time as we look inward here to breathe that in and out. And let's lift back up, finding our tabletop shape, tucking toes again, coming back into our down dog. Just notice the structure in space. Notice that connection to the earth, that open possibility above us. If it feels good to you to lift that left leg, maybe stretch it out into the space around you. Only if it feels good, offering your body compassion and reverence, love. Then everybody's left foot again can step forward towards the top of their mat, between the hands, dropping that right knee behind you. Hands on the floor or on blocks or on your thigh, to sink down through the hips, space, and then opening up the heart, pressing into the hands, or whatever we're using as structure or form to lift, even as we sink down low, all the opposites, encompassing and embodying that wholeness. That Care Bear stare, heart open, sending love out, sending light out, sending reverence out, compassion. Walking hands and or blocks as we shift hips back toward the right heel now. Pulling that left leg a little or a lot straighter, up to you. Hips can be as high or low as feels good. Once you find your steadiness, chin coming into the chest, heart lifting just above the shoulders, behind the body. Sort of curling inward here. Reminding ourselves that as we offer compassion to ourselves into our own hearts, it leaves that trail of compassion behind us to that open back body, highlighting the path, blazing a trail for love, for gentleness, for reverence. Stay for another breath, or 2 or 3, just depending on your comfort level, before we come back into that forward-facing lunge, just kind of following your body's guidance. And this time we're going to anchor through that right hand, either on the floor or the block or the thigh, and then reach that left hand forward, kind of again as like almost guiding the way. Where is that compassion from our heart going? Palm can be up or down or side facing. You're playing with different positions to see what feels good. Just let your body embody that giving outward of compassion, even as your hips settle down, feeling that spaciousness in the inner thighs. Offering compassion should not feel like suffering. So make sure you're adjusting your body to feel good in this shape. And swinging that left arm kind of up above the head and then back towards the body, shifting the heart to the left now. And again, finding the position that works best for you to open here. What metaphorically is to your left in life that you can offer grace to, that you can receive grace from? Where is there an opportunity to your left for reciprocal compassion, for reverence, for both effort and ease, that perfect balance? Where can you aim for that? Again, staying for another breath, or 2 or 3, listening for your body's guidance. We'll come back into our regular style lunge, framing with left foot. Blocks coming out of the way if need be so that we can rise again into downward facing dog, moving with reverence for the body, compassion for the body, loving gentleness for the body. Our individual bodies, both a metaphor for the earth, the whole earth. Everything is connected. Feel hands and feet connected to wholeness, all life as we know it on this planet. Feel the tailbone lifting. Notice whether the front or back of the heart is more open. One more large breath in. Exhale, knees coming down to the mat. Inhaling into that cat arch in the spine. Exhaling into child's pose. Soften. This shape, so indicative or evocative of sort of bowing before, offering reverence to. Can you make any adjustments to soften the shoulders a little bit more here? Does it feel more appropriate to ground with your palms downward, or to offer or receive with your palms facing upward? Just kind of noticing what expression of this pose feels most appropriate for you today. Turning inward, offering ourselves compassion, and recognizing how that offering flows outward to that open space at the back of the heart. Creating that path or that line, creating a model for others to follow.
When the right part of your breath cycle feels right to rise back up into our table, let's take our downward facing dog one more time. Again, moving slowly, reverently, compassionately, moving gently in our bodies to rise back into our down dog shape. Feeling that connection through hands and feet to all of life, both looking inward and gently opening the back of the heart, optionally lifting your right leg. Then eventually, the right leg is going to step forward on the mat again to find that lunge shape. Left knee can drop. Let's widen the right foot out wider on the mat, bringing the right hand inside. And again, blocks can be useful here to raise up the floor. Let's take a few breaths with the heart open, that Care Bear stare, sending that gentleness and reverence and compassion, loving kindness outward. Feel your hips trying to anchor to the earth, even as you press against it with your arms or forearms to lift your heart. Then reversing this direction. Let your chin drop to your chest, pressing even harder into the floor to lift the back of the heart. We might come down to forearms on blocks or forearms on the floor if that's a comfortable position for you. The hips are a little higher here as we kind of point the crown of the head downward. Looking again inward to the self, offering the self that same compassion. Beginning to see that condition of the small s self and the capital S self. Whatever direction we offer our compassion, our reverence, our loving kindness, our gentleness is received by all. There's no separation. Every act of kindness reverberates. This is a challenging shape to take. Stay for another breath or two or three. And just as we've done before, we'll slowly transition when you're ready to downward facing dog. So taking your time, moving with gentleness, reverence, and compassion for the body. Hands and feet on the earth. Gazing inward, feeling the back of the heart open. Perhaps that left leg rises, stretching out into space. Again, eventually left leg steps forward. Finding our lunge. Left leg will widen so that the left hand can come inside, either on floor or blocks here. Hips sink low, Care Bear stare out, open the heart. Maybe a smile on the lips, offering that loving kindness in that universal language. I am not aware of any culture on earth that does not understand the language of the smile. Kindness, acknowledgement, reverence. Eye contact is reverence. Smiles are compassionate regard, loving kindness. Feel the particular challenges of this shape. Just the societal dragons that we are up against as we offer our compassion. Maybe another breath or two before reversing this direction. Chin coming into the chest, back of the heart lifted gently above the shoulders. Perhaps we lower here a little of the chest if that's comfortable for the body. Hips may be a little higher here, but crown of the head is trying to anchor downward now. Feel the particular challenges of this shape. The balance of the compression of the front body and the openness of the back body, the exact opposite of what we were just in, and yet the same compassion is flowing. This time inwardly to the self, allowing that to filter outward to our back open heart, leaving that path behind us, an offering of loving kindness, gentleness, reverence. Honoring your body with that same kindness, that same reverence and gentleness. When the moment feels right, We'll transition again into our downward facing dog. Gentle, kind. Rising back up to down dog to feel the structure of our arms and legs. Where there's space. Right leg can optionally lift again here if you like. And eventually that right leg will again step forward into our now familiar lunge shape, dropping the left knee behind you. This time, left or right foot's going to wander to the left side of the mat. Perhaps we use a block underneath that right knee and underneath the right hip. Perhaps they touch the floor comfortably. Exploring within your body how to anchor the hips downward, whether onto a support or the floor is your support. And again, pressing gently with elbows straight or bent to lift the heart forward of the shoulders, sending that love and light outward. A little shorter posture this time. We're going to do the same thing where we reverse that direction, chin to the chest. Perhaps we lower a little to the mat. Perhaps the back of the heart is now lifting above the shoulders. Blocks could be used here. Floor could be used here. See if you can replicate that same level of compassion that was at the front of the heart a moment ago, now into the back of the heart. That same directional intention rather than outward, inward now. Whatever we offer to ourselves, we offer to the world. Whatever we offer to the world, we offer to ourselves. No separation. When the right moment of your breath cycle comes, let's slowly, very, very slowly, begin to find your way back to downward facing dog. Taking your time. Reverence, compassion, gentleness for the body. Connection to the whole world through the hands and feet. A recognition of the balance of effort and ease in the shape. Perhaps the left leg rises. The left leg will again step forward into that familiar lunge. Right leg can drop to the mat. This time the left foot wandering over to the right side. Perhaps we support the left knee or the left hip with some kind of support, offering that gentleness and reverence. Think of it not as helping yourself, but just setting yourself onto a pedestal of some sort. I love the idea of props as ways to lift something. Things that are important we place up high. Here we have our compassion flowing out at a high rate, upward and outward into the world, lifting as high as is comfortably sustainable for your body. Just for a few rounds of breath. Feel the challenge of the shape. And see where you can let go a little of expectation. And draw that same compassion, that flow that we've created towards the self, chin to chest. Back of the heart lifting a little. Perhaps we lower down towards the floor or blocks here. Turning that compassion, that grace, that reverence, that witnessing inward. Balancing compression and stability with openness and flexibility. The more flexible we are in our bodies, the more we practice that, the more flexible we can become in our hearts and our minds. It matters not whether you ever get your leg behind your head, it matters so much more whether you have a flowing state of mind, a flowing state of compassion. Again, just noticing when the cue from your body arrives, moving slowly, moving gently, moving compassionately, find our way to our last downward facing dog practice. Connection to the whole earth with the hands and feet. Noticing structure and strength, noticing softness and ease, openness and warmth. Generously Or sip in a whole body's worth of air. Exhale, let your knees fall to the mat. Inhale to a spacious back body. Exhale, child's pose. Take the time you need to soften the shape, letting your shoulders go, relaxing your body as much as you can. Finding that sense of reverence as deeply as you can. Offering it inward to the self, letting it flow through you. Yoga teaches us there is only one self. Kindness is kindness, love is love, gentleness is gentleness, reverence is reverence. Offer it in any direction you choose, and there is only one giver and only one receiver. If you can tap into that for another breath, or two, or three. When you feel ready, rise into table just briefly. Maybe our blocks come back behind us again, towards the ankles. Standing on the knees, aligning knees, hips, shoulders, and ears. Arms sweep forward and up. Perhaps they stay high, perhaps they support us at sacrum or down on your blocks. Great big open front body. Feel the strength and structure and compression of your back body. One more breath in. Exhale, let your hands come down to the floor in front of you. Inhale into the back body now. And then just point the crown of the head towards the floor. If you can come close to or make contact with the floor with the crown of your head, come a little closer. But the most important thing here is that back body open. Just like breath is flowing, whether it's flowing in or out, compassion flows, love flows, witnessing flows that same route. Notice it's flowing, whether it's flowing outward or inward. When you're ready, come back to neutral table. We'll just slide the knees out to one side. If you had props, maybe moving those again out of your way. Knees are going to come out to one side so we can bring the sitting bones back to the floor, swinging the legs in front of the body. Legs extend long. See if you can apply a little effort to pushing the heels further away. But keep a little softness at the backs of the knees. Effort as we anchor down and effortfully lift the heart, that lengthening here. Softening down, lengthening up. Ease and effort. The ease in the lower body creating that stable anchoring, and the effort in the upper body creating that space. Those two things cannot be separated. They're one thing, just like self and other. Effort and ease, structure and space are one thing. Let's take another breath or two here. Maybe the legs are long and the feet are flexed. Maybe we're reaching up with the crown. Maybe we're pulling the shoulders down. Effort everywhere. And start with your toes. Soften, let go, let them fall open. Soften the legs, soften the hips, soften the belly. Notice how you immediately kind of fold forward as the ribs come down towards the hips. Let the chin come to the chest, let the shoulders be soft. And taking as deep or as not deep a bow over those legs as feels comfortable for your body. The idea here is to be completely at ease. All that structure and effort now softened. You might lift the torso just a little to bring the knees to bend, but keeping a little bit of that round back body. We're gonna think about our practice thus far and think about what would individually bring us into more of that effort and ease balance.
If you need more ease, bring your hands alongside your mat and just kind of walk yourself down to lying on the spine. If you need a little bit more effort to balance your posture, reach your hands forward and slowly as you can, engaging through the core, roll yourself down. So either option is correct, depending on what will bring you most into balance today. Begin to use that barometer. Practice using it here in a safe place on the mat so you can engage that barometer or listen to that barometer off the mat. Does this moment require more structure or more space? Does this situation or this relationship, whatever you're asking, does it require more effort or more ease? Eventually, with your spine on the floor, draw your arms out sort of wide. They can be a T, it can be an elbow, like the elbows bent. It can be hands above your head, just depend. Just kind of open your heart. Let the soles of the feet remain on the floor for a moment. Wait for the softness to come. Wait for letting go, anchoring into the floor. And feel how that supports the spaciousness of the front body, structure, and space. Bringing a little effort into this equation, let's float the feet away from the floor, drawing the knees softly in towards the chest. Not too much effort, not too much ease. Find a little rocking or a little motion. Notice that your sacrum never leaves the floor as you find this motion. So a lot of space within each situation we come across in life to explore that balance of effort and ease. Eventually, let your knees fall to one side of your mat, keeping your shoulders anchored. So the heart is still facing upward towards the sky. Knees are facing one direction or another. Sometimes it is our foundation that shifts. Sometimes it is our heart that changes direction. When we remind ourselves that we are both the giver and receiver of all the love in the world. There is only one self, and we can simply watch the flow of compassion, whether we are receiving it or offering it. See how much you can let go here. Where could you soften some muscle groups? Maybe could you provide some support to yourself somewhere if you feel block or changing position to be more at ease in this shape. Letting the floor be your structure. One more large inhale here, and as you exhale, bring your knees back to center. Find that motion again, that soft motion, maybe side to side or circular with the knees. And then let the knees eventually fall to the other side of your mat, heart still facing upward, heart still open, supporting yourself however you need to let go fully. Making any slight adjustment to bring more softness into the front body. Releasing your back body into the structure of the floor. A balance of effort and ease. Maybe observing the breath flow, reminding yourself that compassion flows like the breath. Love flows like the breath. Reverence flows like the breath. Gentleness flows like the breath. Sometimes it flows in, sometimes it flows out. It matters only that it's flowing. Ishla Joy Devi reminds us that when we release all holding in the body, as the body yields all efforts, that infinite light is revealed from within. Feel that happening in your heart as you let go of your muscles, release your bones to the floor. One more big inhale, and as you exhale, drawing your knees back to center, taking any motions that your body might require to find balance. And then from there, you're starting to let your body relax into the floor in whatever position feels most supportive. letting the heavy structure of your bones just sink into the floor, letting go of all efforts and holdings. The natural comfort and joy of our being is expressed when the body becomes steady. So let the body now become steady. Take any movements or little nuanced adjustments that you need to take to become steady. And then yield all efforts and holdings. Feel how this expands your heart effortlessly. Hereby we are free, we are liberated, we are transcendent to those fluctuations of the mind. We are experiencing that ahimsa, that love, reverence, compassion, and gentleness. We close every practice with a familiar mantra. Loka means worlds or locations. You can hear the cognate there. Samasta means may all, or may we all together, may all living beings. We hear the same root word of sukha, that ease we've been experiencing, that spaciousness. Sukhino is happiness, it's freedom from suffering. And bhavantu is the verb to become. So we say, may all beings in all the worlds be happy, to become happy, to be spacious, to be at ease, to be at peace with oneself, to be safe and free.
flows out. Breath is flowing. We offer compassion, we receive compassion. Compassion is flowing. We receive reverence, we offer reverence. The reverence is flowing. Gentleness is flowing. Kindness is flowing. Love is flowing. There is only one self, and that self witnesses this flow. Feel back body connected to the earth and all life. Feel front body open to the infinite space, structure, and space as one thing. Individual self and wholeness self as one thing. In stillness, observing that flow. Not being very particular about whether it is flowing in or flowing out. Simply observing that flow. There's always some part of us that is connected to the earth. There's always some part of us that is connected to that open space. Offering yourself and your body that reverence, that kindness, that loving compassion. Explore any movements that begin to bring you back upright. Noticing where there is connection to the space around you or connection to the floor. Noticing where there is structure and solidness in the body, and where there is space and movement and fluidity in the body. Just explore and experience all that. Witness it as you slowly rise. As you come to that seated shape, feel through ease, through letting go, the body becoming anchored and solidly steady into the earth below you. How that letting go, that ease, that releasing of holding and tension creates the stability that we're after. Then use effort to lift and lengthen the upper body. Notice how this creates space, especially in the heart and the length of the spine. Just turn the palms upward, whether they're resting on your body somewhere or lifted slightly. Feel that openness in your palms, the space there. Very slowly, just start to diminish that space until the palms are softly touching. Fingertips softly touching. Feel both that connection of palm to palm and also the gentle, small spaces between your knuckles and the very centers of your palms. And drawing the prayer hands into the chest, taking that soft bow, both to acknowledge the light within ourselves and also to bow humbly to that light within each other, recognizing the one self. And close our practice with that familiar refrain, that mantra, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May all beings be happy, healthy, safe, and free. Namaste.